Hello and welcome to Take Your Time, a Persona 3 Reload podcast. I'm going to have to get used to saying that, where we play Persona 3 Reload in real time along with the in-game calendar. I am one of your hosts, Jonathon Dornbush, joined by my host, co-host, my friend, my good compadre in action here, Tom Marks. Hello.
Boy, people, I hope you're prepared for that to be the most coherent intro Jonathon does in this entire series. It's only downhill from here.
It really is. And let me tell you, after a year and a half, almost 2 years off from this, I'm feeling the pent-up energy. So I'm very, very excited for this.
Me too. I'm excited.
We're back. It's happening. We're
reloaded, ready to go.
We're ready, reloaded, and roiled. No, it doesn't make any sense there. Yes. Anyway,
you're
hello,
still
everyone.
Golden in my eyes.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Until when they eventually remake that game, they're gonna have to figure out another term, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
that's years in the future. Anyway. Hello, everyone. We're so excited to be back. This is our introductory episode to the new season of Take Your Time, I guess we'll call it, where we are going to be setting up what we're going to be doing for the next several months of our lives. We're going to be jumping in to playing Persona 3 Reload. If this is your first time with this show, we'll kind of set up what the show is. If you're a returning fan, welcome back. We're so excited to be back with you all, and we'll get a little bit more into that. But yeah, we're jumping back in. We're going to be playing Persona 3 Reload. I guess just to start off on the bat, for those who have never listened to what Take Your Time is, Take Your Time is a crazy idea where Tom and I decided, hey, wouldn't it be fun to play Persona along with the actual in-game calendar to our real-world calendar? Because it's a good way, honestly, to split up a 100-hour RPG, I think, at least. So it works pretty well. We did that with Persona 5 Royal. And then we sort of did that with some time fudgery going on for Persona 5 Strikers. I was looking at the schedule where that playthrough ended in August of the game in World, and then November for us, but it's fine.
Yeah, we had a little bit more flexibility with that one since it was a spin-off, and we just, it was a side. This is actual season 2. That was like season 1.5.
Exactly. That was our interlude between seasons. But no, It's been some time off, maybe not for you listening, maybe it is, but yeah, we're going to be jumping into and playing Persona 3 Reload through the next several months. So the game starts on April 7th, so we're launching the show April 7th to coincide with that. We're going to be talking about when our first episode is, kind of jumping in and what the cadence you can expect and all that is. But yeah, we're still going to be playing alongside the calendar. So that's what you can expect. And whether you want to just listen along, if you've played the game already, if you want to play along with us as you go, either in real time or, after the show has aired, whichever works for you. We hope you'll enjoy that ride with us. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Before I get into details, anything else, Tom, just about like welcoming back? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. This, to be clear to anybody who is just joining for the first time, this is a bad idea. This is it's not a thing you have to do or,
no,
think
you do.
Is smart.
You're obligated to do this with us.
It's very much meant to be silly. It's very much meant to be sort of a book club feel as we play along the game. You can join us or not, or just hear what we have to say about a game you've already played, maybe. It's also, this season, we're not going to be quite as rigid, right, with the dates. Last season, for Persona 5 Royal, we, really made a hard thing of Sunday to Saturday every week. We are going to play exactly those. If you're in the middle of a story beat between those dates, tough luck. We're just going to cut it off and talk about it the following week. This week, we're going to try to break it up a little bit, or this time we're going to try to break it up a little bit less with that, try to be a little bit more mindful for those dates. But we'll always let you know ahead of time what we're playing through till in that week's episode or the next week's episode. So if you do want to play along with us, you'll know.
Yeah, so we will, as Tom said, we're going to be very transparent about some of the, time mix-ups that may happen. Part of it is life happens. Part of it is the way we realize, I think, in terms of a listening experience, we want to make sure there is enough content per episode, and so we don't get ourselves in an episode where it's oh, we cut off a beat, as you said, or it's oh, there's nothing of interest to talk about here.
Right.
So we'll keep
to
you
that
active.
End.
Yeah. To that end, to talk about things, we're not going to be jumping in immediately next week for those listening live, but our first episode will actually be coming out April 23rd. We will be playing through It was April 20th. Yes, we decided
Yes.
April 20th because a lot of the date fun is going to happen here. For those who don't know, it actually is a little bit helpful here. Persona 3 Reload takes place in 2009. Not a weird spoiler. It comes up very early. But so it takes place in 2009, so you can map the dates perfectly to that year. They are not the same dates for us. So it's not like the 7th.
This again.
It's not like the 7th is the 7th on a Sunday and a Sunday. It's not going to be like that. We're going to have even more confusion there. So that's where a little bit of this weirdness is going to come. We're playing through from the 7th in the game till April 20th.
Yeah, and it's like 2 days off, right? So it's like the 7th in our world is a Sunday and the 7th in the game is a Tuesday?
I believe so, yes, yeah.
But again, because we're being a little bit more flexible, a little less rigid with that stuff, that's not going to matter quite as much. We're just going to go by the dates we say, basically.
Exactly. So for episode 1, make sure you play through April 20th, and then we will let you know where to play. But roughly about a week each time we play. But again...
Yeah. Generally, we're going to try to still keep episodes weekly if we can. But there'll be a little bit, loosey-goosey.
It'll be weird here or there. We'll make it work. For those who... will be listening along. I think a big thing also that I want to put out is, actually I want to mention this up top. I know we have it a little bit later in our run of show, but I think it's worth mentioning here because I want y'all to be considerate of spoilers. Everyone who listened along for Persona 5 was tremendously grateful about this. I hope that continues now. But it's a little bit different because that time I had never played Persona 5 Royal or Strikers, so I did not have that information. However, this time, Tom, you're in the hot seat.
I am in the hot seat. I've never played Persona 3. I have not played the original. I've not played any sort of re-releases of it. I have not played Reload, and you have.
I have. Technically, as we're recording, I've not beaten it, but by the time we get to episode 1, I will have beaten the game. I'm actually very near the end.
But this is the ridiculous thing about this stupid exercise that we're doing, is that you could take the next 8 months to beat it, and you'd still beat it on time.
And you'd never know. But... no, so that's going to be a little bit of a fun reversal where I'll know things going in. I will have to keep a good poker face like Tom did season 1, because let's be honest, you were great with that.
Thank you.
You were fantastic. I totally did not catch things that I should have. And the way you were able to save face, it was incredible. So hopefully I can do that this time. But again, I mentioned that especially up top at the beginning of the show, because for those who will be listening along, for those who will be sending in messages, comments, please just keep in mind Tom has not played, and we are not going to tolerate spoilers openly. If there's, we'll find ways and figure out ways for people to talk about stuff in depth, but I don't want that to be in Tom's way. I want him to experience this game pure, because, oh man, it's a ride, Tom. Let me tell you.
And I'm excited to get into it. And that's the sort of the other side of this coin of me not having played it, is that I'm going to be a little bit less knowledgeable with certain things, and you're going to get a different sort of experience of it than with Royal, where, at least Jonathon had played 5, the base game of 5. And so, we're still going to do our best digging into things, saying what we think of things, looking ahead at stuff, and not spoilery, but digging into mechanics. We like characters. We like what moments that happened. All that sort of good stuff is still going to be there. But, give me a little grace if you guys got suggestions for trivia or anything like that, throw them my way, because I would love to hear non-spoilery sort of where I should be turning my attention. And I'll be discussing that with Jonathon as well. But it's just preparing you for those... I haven't beaten this game 3 times in the way I did Persona 5.
You knew that game. Yeah. And
I did. I knew that game well.
I think it's also worth setting up. Persona 3 Reload is my first time playing through or learning about the Persona 3 story. So one element that people might find lacking, and this just isn't going to be the show, but we can't talk about it in context of the original game as people who played it. There are some obvious things where changes have been very well known that we can kind of talk about, especially in terms of some of the modernization, but we won't be able to one-to-one compare it to that stuff, and especially as well with Persona 3 Portable, which for those who don't know includes a female protagonist, which is not included in here.
But we are getting DLC by the time this show gets to that point.
We are, and we're going to have to figure that out, but that's a future us problem. That's not a current us problem. And Tom has a friend on screen for those who are watching the video
floating around my video.
Tom Tom is living in an abandoned mine, for anyone who didn't know.
A lot's changed in the last year and a half.
Everything's changed with tons of awesome gaming merch. No. So, yeah, it'll be a little bit of a different show, but we hope still really fun. Fun, thoughtful analysis, wackiness. Speaking of trivia, I do have a bit of trivia for the end of the show for you to start things off, but remind me if I forget. We'll get there in a sec. But beyond that, I do want to also mention, as part of the show coming back, it's been, almost 2 years. We've thought about the show a lot, thought about like how we want to keep doing this sustainably for ourselves. This is not our full-time job, though wouldn't that be wonderful? It's not our full-time job. We do have lives and all these things going on, but we love doing the show. And part of doing that show, we think it's something worth, putting out there. We know the audience out there who has loved it, has really, really loved it. And we can't thank everyone who's been with the show, how much you've supported it already. Like, truly, sincerely, it is wild that I think a fun, random experiment you and I did during the beginning of the pandemic to still talk to each other became a thing that we had such a wonderful, welcoming, warm community around.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really the support, and also to see that continue after we were done and people coming back to it every April and new people rejoining with Royal and playing alongside us or whatever, rediscovering the show has been really cool to see too.
Yeah, it means so much to us. So we're so grateful for that audience. We hope to see that audience grow and build in that wonderful community. So for the long-timers, please welcome the newcomers with open arms, and the newcomers, welcome. Be good people. Be good to one another, and you'll find a really great group. With that in mind, we really want to help sort of like bring the group together and bring a group around the show and really like honor the work I think you and I are doing. So as part of this, we are starting a Patreon for Take Your Time. It's very easy to find. It will be patreon.com/takeyourtime. If everything has gone right and I have not totally dropped the ball, it will be live as soon as this episode is live. So you can go there. You can find out more details about the Patreon, but we think it's really important to, I think, both one, bring everyone together kind of in one easy place, both audio and video supporters, but also to bring the community together and to, have this group where we'll be able to show our appreciation to those who are further showing your appreciation with your support, because your support will help us to keep doing this show. At the end of the day, it is hard to do this show just with everything else going on in our lives, but we really want to. So this will mean a lot. It will help us, continue to push forward, be able to support the show, because a lot goes into it, more than just playing the game. So
yeah,
go ahead.
One of the reasons we took a long break is because I had a kid last year, right? So there's a lot more going on in our lives. Wait, you did?
Oh my God. Tom. No.
I know.
If only that was the first time I found this out.
Yeah, so I think we realized as this went on that people were. This is a very silly thing we're doing, but people were taking it seriously and really enjoying it, and we wanted to kind of show it respect in that regard. We're not, you obviously take care of yourselves first. Make sure you're in the financial situation if you would like to support us. We appreciate it, but this is still a thing where we're doing out of love for it. This weird idea, and but we want to, like Jonathon said, take it a little bit more seriously as well in terms of like the effort that goes into it.
Yeah, and especially because I think any support that you show, we are going to be able to put back into the show as well. It's not just
exactly
a thing that hangs out and is really cool. It will help us be able to do more bespoke stuff for the show and to put a little bit more attention and care into everything around the show. So
yeah, I'm calling you out live. We didn't plan on talking about this.
Fair enough.
I found out as we were planning this that Jonathon has been paying a licensing fee for the music before the show, and he just never told me.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's not like a king's bounty to the cost of it, but at the same time I was like, well, I didn't know.
$1 million. No, yeah. Well, that is true. It is not a free show to produce for us. So that is part of it. That is a reality of just the thing we got going on here. But we do want to make it very clear that regardless, as Tom said, don't feel like you're obligated to support the show if you can't. Financial, situations, very understanding. The main show will never be behind a paywall. We will never put the main playthrough of this game, our past games with Persona 5 Royal and Strikers right now, those will never go locked behind a paywall as far as I can understand or help it, unless some evil corporation steps in and steals it from us. Like
when we sell out in 5 years.
When we really bank it. No. We intend for the main playthroughs of these games, that part of the show, which so many people have gravitated toward, to always be available to everyone. Those will always be on main feeds, available to people. You will find them with ads, but like they will be available to people, in perpetuity is the goal there.
And so the tact we're taking is, rather than hiding stuff behind it, is creating additional value for fans who would like to support the show, right? So the main thing being, you'll get the episodes a day early. Every week we're going to be posting on Tuesdays normally, but Mondays if you're a Patreon supporter. And then on top of that, we're tooling with the idea of doing bonus episodes, bonus content. We had a lot of ideas, especially at the end of the Royal playthrough, of like, what if we did a ranking episode of like ranking our favorite palaces or our favorite characters, and we did some of that, but we didn't have time for all of it. So like, we're not entirely sure what that extra content is going to look like yet. We're still working with it. Please let us know in comments or send us an email if you have ideas for things you would want to see if you are interested in supporting. But that's more what we want to do rather than hiding stuff away. We're just trying to create additional value for those who really are the big Take Your Time fans out there.
Exactly. So yeah, the main show will always be here for everyone to listen to, especially, there'll be a couple weeks in between, but don't worry, that episode that goes up in a couple weeks, that episode will be available for everyone. That is the plan for those episodes going forward. As Tom said, got plenty of ideas. We want to hear from you about them as well. There will be, free posts that people will be able to read. Like Tom said, stuff is in flux a little bit, but we're always going to be very transparent with you about that stuff and very reactive and understanding and responsive to your feedback and input. So know that we're keeping that in mind for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, so again, you can find that at patreon.com/takeyourtime. You can find the info there. You can pledge to be a patron if you'd like to there, get all the info as well. Otherwise, the show will continue to be on podcast services and youtube.com/Dornology, where you can find it every week. But yeah, as Tom said, they'll go live Tuesdays normally for everyone, Mondays for patrons. And yeah, we can't wait to jump into all this. But as we said, dynamic will be a little different. And I'm getting choked up about it. The dynamic will be a little different. The structure will change. This game is shorter than Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, it's like half the length.
It can be. I know people who have spent 100 hours with it. I know people who have spent 60 with it. So
yeah,
it'll vary, but it should not be the 140-ish hours Persona 5 Royal can take you.
It's so crazy to me that you could be like, this game is half the length of Persona 5 Royal and it's still 80 hours or whatever. It's still like one of the largest RPGs I'll have ever played.
We're going with a shorter game this season, just to make it easy on ourselves. No, but so that'll be a little bit of a thing to keep in mind, especially if you're playing along, a little bit easier of an ask every week.
And anyone coming in from Royal, like me, it's also just like a different sort of game because the palace structure, quote unquote, is different. And not getting into spoilers, I know little bits about that, right? It's just sort of a different beast, and we're going to have to adjust to that as well, which is I'm looking forward to. I know very little about what to expect from this one besides the fact that they shoot themselves, which is wild to me because I've watched a trailer.
I will say with that, it is worth, I think, mentioning this episode, especially for those who don't know Persona 3 Reload. Obviously, 5 dealt with mature themes. This game does as well in some major ways I didn't expect. I won't be able to give a full list of content warnings right now. As we get into some of those things, I think we'll definitely mention them at the top of each show. But there are some very heavy, serious topics that come up in this game. A little bit different at times than what did in 5, though 5 obviously had its serious topics as well. So just wanted to mention that for people as we get into all this.
And we'll be clear about that too.
Absolutely. Also, as Tom was saying, it'll be a little bit less tip-based. I think we're also going to come in with some understanding. We both have a base understanding of how Persona combat works, about how of the structure of these types of games work. And while we'll go through like some of the basics of it as we get to them, we might not go as excruciatingly in detail as we maybe did with the Persona 5 playthrough for some of that stuff, just because it is a series. There are similarities here. And I do think 3 Reload in particular is made with Persona 5 Royal fans in mind.
Yeah, so. And it's cool to see that this is like, I think they were saying this is like the fastest selling Persona game ever. It feels like 5 really opened a door to a wider audience that 3 is now, showing how much the audience has grown. So I'm excited to sort of go on that journey, know?
It'll be really fun. It'll be really fun, really emotional. without spoiling too much. But I can't wait to get into it with you. There have been things where I've gotten to it, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to make for such a fun, crazy episode to talk about. Like, oh yeah,
I'm excited to be the one squirming in my seat, or to watch you squirming in your seat as you try to avoid that stuff.
Yeah, just hiding my entire face so you can't, which is great podcast etiquette. Hiding my mouth so it has bad audio. Definitely not out of practice with this. But no, yeah, we're so excited to jump into it. I think that covers most of the main stuff that we wanted to for this intro. As we said, first episode playthrough April 20th. It will drop on April 23rd.
Yep.
I am making sure the dates are correct in my phone because I set alarms. Those are the dates we'll be working with for this first episode. We'll keep going forward. I can't wait to go on this adventure with you again, Tom. Like, genuinely, I was thinking about how much fun Persona 5 Royal and Strikers were to play through with you in this silly way, and I genuinely can't wait to do this again with you and the audience out there as we jump in.
Same.
It's gonna be wild. We're gonna have to come up with new catchphrases, new running bits.
What's bonking is out.
Yeah, I don't know if Dr. House makes as much sense in this game, but we'll see where we get. That's for all of the longtime fans. And again, I will shout out, if you are jumping in with this, go check out our playthrough of Persona 5 Royal and Strikers if you never have, either if you've played those games or want to play those games. Fan testimony. They're great companions to anyone's playthrough. But no, those are out there and available for everyone. If you want to, obviously feel free to write in on the YouTube comments of this episode at youtube.com/Dornology. You can also write in at dornology@gmail.com. The Patreon also will have an initial post up that like kind of everyone can write on and comments and such of that nature. So we can't wait to hear from all of you. We can't wait to go on this journey with everyone. I'm just super excited. Anything else from your end, Tom, before we wrap up?
No, I'm just thrilled. I'm ready to go.
Cool. Well, thank you again for joining me for this wacky, weird, wild journey we've decided to embark on yet again. But I can't wait, and I can't wait for everyone out there to join along with us. But we're gonna take a little bit of time before the next episode. So, Tom, I want to leave you with one trivia question.
Yes, go for it.
So, of course, as I mentioned, this game takes place in the real world, like calendar. It is tied to 2009. So, on April 7th, 2009, what was the #1 movie at the box office?
Oh, God.
I'll give you a hint. It is part of a major, currently ongoing film franchise.
Huh.
You can give me your answer when we come back next time.
Okay.
But
well, no, I don't want to cheat. I'm gonna go for something.
Okay. We'll give the audience at home a chance to comment as well. But yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, I'll give you another hint after. But yeah.
I'm trying to think. 2009 is so tricky.
It's a weird year. Yeah. It is not, to give you another hint, it is not related to the MCU or DC. Like, it's not DC or Marvel.
I figured. I'm going to go with a wild one.
Okay.
I don't know which one, but I'm going to go Fast and the Furious.
Do you want to guess which one? Because you're correct.
Ah!
You're right.
Okay. 2009. Would it have been Fast 5?
So close. Fast and Furious, a.k.a. Fast and Furious 4. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That one's not even... Never mind. I won't get into my rankings of the Fast and the Furious because I've seen them all multiple times.
Me too. That's a bonus content episode if I've ever heard one. Because that series is as complex as Persona.
I'm proud of getting the series, though.
I was impressed. I wasn't sure when I looked it up. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to give too many hints because then it becomes too obvious. But yeah.
There's a lot of long-running series still, so yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, congrats on getting the first trivia of this season right. We'll see where trivia goes. We'll see what fun games we come up with. We'll see what y'all have to say about this game. But again, thank you so much to everyone who has joined us before for this show. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love for it. We're coming back because of all of that support, because of how much support you showed for us. So thank you sincerely from both of us for that.
Just to reiterate that, like, the fan feedback has been it was really monumentally overwhelming for what we were expecting. We were expecting basically no one to watch this, and y'all have been great. So thank you, and we hope this next one lives up to the expectation.
Yeah. Tom and I hate each other, so it was a lot to bring us back together. As you can see, the animosity is just so clear. But no, genuinely, thank you to everyone out there. And Tom, thank you for joining me for this inaugural episode of this new season of Take Your Time.
My pleasure.
And I hope y'all out there don't take your time tuning into the next episode. But until then, we'll see you later. I really need catchphrases this season, man.